Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, 100 days ago, Donald Trump proclaimed the golden age of America begins now. But in 100 days, since Inauguration Day, King Donald has shown us that he sits on a throne of fool's gold, one built on empty boasts, unfulfilled promises, and lie after lie after lie. In just over 3 months, King Donald's reign has rained down chaos and corruption and cuts and crisis on the American people. And he is counting on you not to pay attention. He's hoping you don't notice that every day costs are rising, retirement savings are sinking, and families are living paycheck to paycheck, and they're bearing the burden of the Trump world. He's relying on all of us to roll over, accept his absolute rule, and let him and his Caviar cabinet enjoy the circus while they pass a massive tax break for their billionaire buddies out of all of the programs that would serve every family in our country. So, to help us all keep track here on the 100th day of the Trump presidency, here are the 100 damages from Trump's 100 days. In his first 100 days, Donald Trump, number one, propped up big tech billionaires at his inauguration, right here in this building. 2, withdrew the United States from the World Health Organization. Number 3, pulled the United States out of the Paris Climate Agreement to save our planet. Number 4, created Doge. Number 5, called to end birthright citizenship through an executive order which is unlawful because it cannot override the Constitution of the United States. Number 6, canceled nearly $400 million in funding to support communities' efforts to eliminate or reduce flood damage. Number 7, eliminated the Office of Climate Change and Health Equity, which addresses greenhouse gas emissions from the health sector and facilitates interagency coordination to address climate change impacts on the public health of all 330 million Americans. Number 8, he attacked clean car regulations that save drivers money at the pump. Number 9, unleashed ICE at schools and hospitals and churches to threaten children and families. 10, disbanded the Office of Gun Violence Prevention, which championed the first federal gun safety legislation in more than 30 years. Number 11, repealed the Biden administration's AI protections for minority communities in our country. Number 12, he helped states refuse abortion care in life-threatening emergencies. Number 13, threatened to take over the Panama Canal. Number 14, he fired 18 inspectors general who worked to eliminate government waste and fraud and abuse. Number 15, threatened to hold California wildlife aid hostage. 16, threatened to use military action against Greenland to take it by force and violate its sovereignty. 17, illegally fired 2 National Labor Relations Board officials. 18, banned transgender Americans from serving in the United States military. 19, restricted access to gender-affirming care. 20, he froze the clean school bus rebate funding standing in the way of keeping our air clean for kids on buses in our country. 21, spread misinformation about vaccines and risked the health of millions of Americans. Number 22, he blamed a plane crash on DEI. Irresponsible. 23, eliminated the Public Records Office at the Centers for Disease Control. 24, scrubbed health data related to HIV from the CDC website. 25, allowed DOGE access to sensitive Treasury Department information about all Americans. 26, fired the director of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau because he favors the interests of his billionaire buddies over those of American consumers. Number 27, gutted federal protections for worker safety. Number 28, scrubbed the mention of climate change from any federal agency in our country. 29, froze $10 billion in disaster funding as part of a bogus investigation into nonprofit support for undocumented immigrants. Number 30, cut cancer research funding. Number 31, cut diabetes research funding. Number 32, cut HIV/AIDS research funding. Number 33, cut heart disease research funding. Number 34, cut mental health research funding. Number 35, cut family caregiving research funding. Number 36, cut funding to recruit the next generation of health researchers, putting years of innovation at risk. Number 37, withdrew grant opportunities with the Office of Violence Against Women. 38, threatened providers, hospitals, and community health centers because of the type of care which they provide. Number 39, froze funding for community health centers in our country. Number 40, ordered the suspension of EV charging funding. Number 41, tried to rename the Gulf of Mexico. Number 42, illegally rescinded $80 million in congressionally appropriated FEMA funding for New York City bank accounts. Number 43, fired and then rehired over 300 staffers at the National Nuclear Security Administration, jeopardizing the security of the United States nuclear stockpile. Number 44, threatened to take over Canada. Number 45, weakened NATO by cozying up to Russia and alienating our allies. Number 46, cut Alzheimer's research, delaying breakthroughs that could find a cure for this tragic and deadly disease. Number 47, terminated the American Climate Corps. Number 48, cut hundreds of employees from the FAA. 49, fired more than 200 probationary FEMA workers. And number 50, fired more, this is unbelievable, than 2,400 National Park Service workers nationwide, including at Minuteman National Park, Springfield Armory, and Cape Cod National Seashore. Number 51, called to privatize the United States Postal Service, jeopardizing jobs and the fast, safe, and efficient delivery of our mail. Number 52, fired workers responsible for answering the Veterans Administration crisis line. Number 53, worked with Republicans in Congress to gut Medicaid. 54, terminated hundreds of VA contracts, including those in cancer research and suicide prevention. 55, fired more than 1,000 NOAA employees nationwide. 56, gutted USAID and halted global humanitarian assistance. 57, fired 2,400 VA employees with plans to cut 80,000 additional VA employees. 58, froze funding and canceled classes at the National Fire Academy. 59, canceled the local food for schools and local purchase assistance programs at the United States Department of Agriculture, ending subsidies that go directly to farmers for schools and costing Massachusetts alone and our farmers $18 million. Number 60, ordered the closure of the environmental justice offices at the Environmental Protection Agency. And not just at headquarters, but at all the regional EPA offices as well. 61, froze and announced the termination of the Climate Bank, the Green Bank funding. 62, froze $20 million in community change grant funding to improve air quality in Springfield, Massachusetts, the former asthma capital of the United States, and cut another $1 million from Massachusetts Department of Public Health to combat asthma rates in Western Massachusetts. 63, eliminated the Institute of Museum and Library Services. 64, wiped the Surgeon General's advisory calling gun violence a public health crisis. Wiped. 65, called for the firing of judges who have disagreed with him, which clearly would violate the United States Constitution. 66, illegally fired the Democratic commissioners at the Federal Trade Commission. 67, cut off legal representation for unaccompanied children in immigration proceedings. 68, cut funding to fight the opioid epidemic in our country. It's still an epidemic. 69, threatened to block a media merger if CBS didn't change its reporting. 70, gave DOJ access to sensitive Small Business Administration data. 71, Signalgate. 72, abducted Rumesa Ozturk off the streets of Somerville, Massachusetts, a graduate student who I just visited in prison in Louisiana. The Trump administration has not charged her with a crime, has presented no evidence. The Trump administration must release Rumesa now. 73, cut funding to help kids get vaccinated. 74, terminated collective bargaining for tens of thousands of federal workers. 75, called to end funding for the broadcasters of the public broadcasting system of our country. 76, cut off $106 million in education funds for Massachusetts. 77, threatened a military attack against Iran, which could have set off a full-blown regional war in the Middle East. 78, fired nearly everyone who works on the low-income heating assistance program and their federal staff. Fired nearly everyone. 79, fired 870 workers at the National Institutes for Occupational Safety and Health, approximately 2/3 of their workforce. That's occupational safety and health. 80, cut funding for the Head Start program. 800,000 young people are in Head Start. Slashed that funding. 81, canceled more than 1,000 National Endowment for the Humanities grants totaling more than $363 million. 82, delayed broadband grant funding. 83, allowed a measles epidemic to spread uncontrolled across our country. A measles epidemic in 2025. 84, eliminated more than $880 million in federal climate resilience aid that helps communities build disaster-resilient infrastructure. 85, opened America's public lands to new coal mining. 86, targeted state and local laws aimed at tackling the climate crisis. 87, moved to end life-saving parole programs for Afghans and Ukrainians and Cubans and Haitians and Nicaraguans and Venezuelans. 88, moved to sunset critical environmental regulations. 89, blocked $2.2 billion in federal grant funding to Harvard. 90, froze public safety grants for public broadcasters in our country. 91, halted federal leasing and permitting for wind projects in our country as they opened our public lands for coal mining. 92, gutted permitting processes in order to fast-track dirty energy projects to reward his big oil and gas and coal cronies. 93, canceled $90 million in disaster prevention funding to Massachusetts alone. 94, put all staff on the U.S. Interagency Council on Homelessness on administrative leave, essentially shutting down the agency that works on homelessness in our nation. Number 95, suspended food safety inspections after firing the Food and Drug Administration workers. Food safety inspections suspended in our country in 2025. 96, terminated $400 million in grants for AmeriCorps. 97, suspended refugee resettlement in our country for the first time. 98, arrested Judge Hannah Dugan, alleged that she helped an undocumented man avoid immigration enforcement. 99, increased funding for the Sentinel ICBM program, which, as it increases the risk of accidental launch, makes nuclear war more likely on our planet. And 100, deported children who are United States citizens. 100 days, 100 damages. This is where our country is right now. And this is what we must stand up and fight to prevent from becoming any worse. So I thank you, Mr. President, and I yield back.